Hello, this is Cara from Cara Tarot, finally doing hashtag mid-year tarot tag, a VR to Chanel Days. This is a 2025 version of it. I have to say, I was being a very didactic Virgo, and I kept saying to myself, why is everyone doing this in the middle of May? It's not the middle of the year. For me, it was more because I schedule my deck use, including scheduling in new decks. And so I really didn't want to do this until we were almost at the end of June, because there were some decks I hadn't worked with. Because if any of you have been following me this year, I've been having a banner buying year. So there were some decks I hadn't worked with, and I wanted to make sure I didn't want them to be part of this. So here I am. Number one question, the deck you have used the most. I think we could all sing this together at this point if you've watched my channel at all. The influence of the angels. This is... At this point, I say, we're having an in-depth, intimate relationship at this point. The influence of the angels. And aside from using it in the beginning of the year as one of my daily affirmation cards online, it also was one of my monthly focuses earlier this year in an effort to learn who all the people are in the court cards. The court cards all have portraits of actual people. I want to say that's Mary Wollstonecraft, but I didn't learn them. I still haven't learned all of them. So I still have more work to do. And in addition to that, the majors all have specific angels that are represented for each major and the area of influence, the influence of that angel. And so I don't know those either. So I'm just, I've been spending time with it, but it may not have been. Sounds like some people I've dated. Spent a lot of time with them. Not sure it was beneficial. So the deck I've used the most, Influence of the Angels Tarot, I have waxed poetic about. The guidebook is beautifully written. It details all of the elements that are in the cards, including the symbols. And it is... I think it's both very straightforward Rider-Waite-Smith, but it also, the imagery is completely divorced from Rider-Waite-Smith. So it's definitely not a clone. So it has its own symbolic language, and then it has daily affirmations that are called angelic messages. And I've been using those for my daily affirmation posts. So there's a lot of there, and I'm still in love. Yes, we're still having an affair, and I'm still in love. I think we're at least engaged. Oh, maybe that's the engagement ring. The second question, new deck that came into your collection. This is one I haven't shown at all. This is a 2025 deck, and I look forward to getting into it. The Wisdom of Place, Elements of Sacred Landscapes by Elizabeth Boltz and Chip Sullivan. Now, it is so different from a normal tarot that today when I was getting ready to look at it, I was like, is it even really a tarot? And it is. It is, and it's, and a box. It's not only a box within a box, but it's an orange box. And can you tell I like orange? I used to have a friend who would say, that's not a picture of you. You're not wearing orange. I used to wear blaze orange a lot. So the suits, I think, are air, fire, water, and wood. And then the majors are all renamed. Usually I'm not a fan of that at all. So this is going to require some work. They are, even though they are renamed, they supposedly represent the same thing, but just different facets of the same thing. So I can't explain it because I haven't worked with it. This is only the second time I've had this open. I just looked through it a little bit today. But it is the major and the minor arcana, a gateway to enlightenment. It spreads. Nice guidebook explaining their layout. And just the one spread, north, south, east, and west. Call to adventure, crossing the threshold, trials and tests, resolution and enlightenment. The ultimate spirit of place. Now, I also ordered another landscape deck, which is, I think it might be pre-ordered. And so I wanted to I kind of do this. Usually I get a couple decks that explore the same thing. This is one that's definitely going to have to be a study deck. But anyway, so that's a new deck that came into my collection. I think this just arrived 2 days ago. And it's exciting to me. Number 3, a deck that could be better. Okay, I had 2 for this. And I think you all know I love the Tildwick Tarot. And this is actually, it's not about the deck. It's about the infinitesimal print in this guidebook. I mean, even with a magnifying glass, this print is small. That's fine. But then the print for each one of these is, and it's italicized. So it's not just tiny, it's italicized. And for people like this is even smaller for the minors. It's like, who the heck can read this? Now, I kept meaning to go online to see if there was an online version that was larger. So if there is, please let me know, because I just didn't look that up. It irritates me when the print is this small. I'm like, come on. Even for people with good eyes, this is ridiculous. And I've worn glasses since I was 7, so come on. It's not very nice. It's not very nice when they do that. And then my other quibble, I worked with the Botticelli Tarot this month. And yes, I edged it. So you know I like it. Of course, there's nothing to dislike about this. They have, unlike some other art decks, like the Dulac art deck that I featured in my art hashtag, they have added the 3 swords, for example, or they've added these swords. They've added the symbols, and that's wonderful for reading. It makes your life much simpler, so that you're not just trying to guess, how does this relate to the wands? You have the wands there. It's a beautiful deck. My quibble with it is, I wish it were larger. This is, it's even a little narrower than regular tarot size. I'd love to have all of these art decks. The artwork is the star of the show, and you really can't see it unless it's larger. All of the beautiful detail would just be, I realize they're probably balancing image and relationship to cost. It keeps the price low on these to make them smaller, but oh, Wouldn't this be just fabulous if it were a larger size? Even just the next step up larger, it would just be even that much better. So, as lovely as it is, it could be better. And, okay, I'm going to say it. The guidebook could be better. I mean, Lo Scarabeo, we know the issue with the guidebook there. It's in 54 different languages in small print, and they have very little information. I might have been exaggerating slightly. 54 languages, maybe. But, and again, that's wonderful that it is, that gives it a universality, but it would be nicer to have better guidebooks with these two. And I'm sort of using that deck to represent a lot of other art decks that they put out. A deck you are currently using, I'm sure you'll be shocked and surprised. Shocked! The Vachetta Tarot. I realized I went through my whole last one of these, displaying the nudity. Oh, and the first card I pull out has lots of nudity. This is Il Menengello's version of the Vachetta Tarot. There are less expensive versions, but boy, this is just absolutely a joy. I am currently using this as my scripture card with my daily affirmations. I used to separate them on Instagram, the scripture card and the general affirmations. And when I decided to just record them on YouTube, then I put them together in one. It's just all the affirmations for one day. I love everything about it. It fills me with joy. I am, if I'm married to the influence of the angels, then I'm definitely in a long-term affair with this deck. This is only about half the deck. The other half is still in order, waiting to be used, and I didn't want to disrupt my order. Number 5, a deck that is your biggest surprise. I did 2 of these. One of them is the Dream Dust Shamanic Tarot. I knew it was going to be something different, and I was up for it when I got it. Mystic Rob is the person that showed this, that clued me into it. Some people have compared it to the Margaret Peterson, and although the style is different, I definitely see the similarities. This is an all modern art deck, and the surprise for me is, well, I have equated this to being like scrying, because you're kind of looking at this abstract image and finding things in it. And I really didn't know how it would go for me. I thought it was something I wanted to try. I also, briefly, I said my uncle, who was a lovely man, was very much into modern art, and I have never really seen it. He lived with it. He liked it around the house. He loved all of the arts. I mean, we come from a family of musicians and art appreciators. But I knew I would increase my appreciation for modern art to try to work with this, as well as trying to strengthen my psychic work. And it's been all of that. And I thought it would be work, because for some reason, scrying, I just can't do it. I've tried, and I end up just looking at the glare on the container, and I just it doesn't work for me. But with this, wow, it's been easy and wonderful, and just a joyous journey. And the other one is this deck, the Les Métamorphoses du Jour. Yes, Baba Studios had a deck with the artwork of J.J. Granville using probably a lot of these same illustrations. It had more color in the background. Um, so in that way, it was more highly colored. These are still pretty highly colored. I knew I would like the artwork. I know I like his artwork. I like the fact that it was political satire. It's historical. All of those things are up my alley. Oh, there's my girl. The 9 of coins. That's me. That's me in my garden. But I just could not have anticipated how much I enjoy reading with this deck. This could come up into my top 5. I love the images because they're whimsical, but there's a lot when you put it together with the traditional meaning of the Rider-Waite-Smith meaning of the card, and then the images are very well chosen to just add a lot of depth. So that was a huge surprise. I thought this was just going to be kind of cute and fun, and when you find something that you didn't think was going to be have that much depth, or that you were going to love working with, and then you do, it's like, wow. Wow. My biggest deck crush. New to me, not, I've seen many, many, many other people have this. Again, this is one that I waited for this and waited for this and waited for this, and she occasionally has very generous sales. And I love the larger cards. I know that's an issue for some people. So for me, that's just the size, the weight, the multiples, all of this deck. This is a soul deck for me. This has been so easy for me to get into and to get into in depth. It's just exciting when you find that. And I do a set kind of rotation that I set up in advance. And for some reason, this one is hard to fit into it because of the way I kind of choose my monthly themes. And yet, it's out on my reading area all the time, and that's very rare. So it's just, I feel that affinity for it. As someone else was saying today that they felt that way about it. They just, all the images hit them just straight to the heart. So this is, oh, well, gosh, I already said I was having an affair with the other one. I'd have to say if I'm going to keep up that analogy, I'm going to wear that analogy out. Okay, so I'm married to the influence of the angels. I'm having a long-term affair with Giovanni Vecchetta, but this is me. This is what I see when I look in the mirror. Number 7, my favorite single card. I've mentioned this before. It hasn't changed. From the Tarot de Carlottes. The Hierophant having tea with a bunny. And, well, 2 bunnies. Having tea with 2 bunnies. I guess she's ready to go. She has her purse. This just encapsulates everything I love about this deck and my sense of humor, and I actually saved this to be the screensaver on my phone. That's how much I love this card. A deck that makes me happy. Well, obviously, this could be that. Now, this is neither tarot nor oracle. This is a box of birds affirmation cards. I have used this in the same way that I use my oracle cards. It even comes with a little stand, and it's a tiny deck. This is a mini-size deck. But they are just so lovely. So, oh, that's the... some might find them overly sweet and trite. But some days you just need that. It's that little comfort, that little affirmation that just becomes a little voice that stays with you. I have used this for my 4-card pick one, and pretty much everybody that follows me said how much they loved this deck. And I found it by chance. I was looking up my Bird Oracle deck that I like so much, because I was going to give a copy of that to my niece's other daughter. And I found this, and just absolutely delightful. It's called A Box of Birds, Affirmations. What deck has a great guidebook? The guidebook to the peculiar pathways. Just this wonderful guidebook that you see here. It breaks down the symbols in this deck's card compared to the Rider-Waite-Smith. And I will say, there are a lot of decks that have really wonderful guidebooks now. We've come a long way from the little white book, and what a blessing to have this kind of depth of all the symbols. So this is just one of many that I think had exceptional guidebooks. I usually mention that when I think they are. So the Peculiar Pathways guidebook, just marvelous. And I'll do a special shout out to the guidebooks for the Tarot of the Enchanted Souls and the Westwood Tarot, both by Yasmin Westwood. Those guidebooks are both set up differently. And if one guidebook had what both of them have, that would be so magnificent, but it would be a big Hawken guidebook. A deck I want by the end of the year, or a deck that I'm waiting for. Well, there are two that come to my mind right away. This one is on pre-order and it won't come until October. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. The Woodland Wardens Tarot is coming out by Jessica Rue, and it's on pre-order at a lot of different places. I think I just pre-ordered it on Amazon. So I love this oracle. It goes with an amazing amount of decks. Although I've said before that this deck I used with the Forager's Daughter, and I swear they had conversations that I had to interrupt. Every single pairing of card, it's just like they would just... they were so chatty together. But this deck works with many, many other decks as well. Aside from just this gorgeous, gorgeous artwork and pairings of flora and fauna. And so I'm excited to see what the tarot deck is going to be like and how that's going to work. And then the other one is actually supposed to be in the mail to me right now, was a pre-order also, and it is Boadicea's Tarot of Earthly Delights. I follow someone online, and Cosmic Crow Tarot, I think that's her name, online, and she has a copy of it already and has been posting one card a day. And oh my goodness, to me, I'd say almost every one of those cards just hits me where I live. It's a collage deck. It's and it's not expensive. Um, but wow, it's so powerful. Just every image just spot on. And so I'm anxiously awaiting for that to arrive as I am the Woodland Wardens Tarot. A deck that you've barely used but you want to work with. Well, I've barely used it, but I've shown it online a lot, and that is um, a deck that's new to me, the Dame Darcy Queen Alice Tarot. I'm not even going to show a whole lot of cards. I think I've shown this now in at least 5 of these BRs, but I have not used it yet. So that I want to rectify. Again, it has to do with the way that I schedule my decks, and I try kind of do themes, and my upcoming August theme is desert related things, because it's usually incredibly dry around here in August. It's about the only time of year when it is dry here. So I haven't used it yet. Now, and I do have another I want to talk about, which is one of the decks I've had the longest, Il Libro de Thoth. I talked about this recently, about how I had difficulty figuring out what was going on with the majors, because it is just its own thing. And then I just got this to be able to compare it. And this is the Granditea Egyptian Tarot of the Egyptians. Now, yeah, 78 is the Fool. So there's this whole thing, and then he has the planets. So I won't do it now, because it's on my list of things to do. Is I want to do a side-by-side with these to talk about the majors and how they differ. And this has the virtues, and you know, anytime you put the virtues in something, you've got my attention. Talk about aspirational. So this would be the other one or two that I have. I mean, this literally just, and this was just a cheap deck from Walmart. Who knew Walmart had tarot cards? Cheap, and that just arrived yesterday. So those are the decks that I've barely used, but I do want to get to work with. The favorite video that you've created, and that you've created or seen, and I'm doing both. As with most people, I'm doing both. I will say the video, the VR invitation that I just put out, hashtag 20 classic movies in tarot, is probably my favorite thing that I've done so far, because it combines so many of my interests. You know, I was a lifelong actress, so watching films and acting has been seminal to my life. And so that was by far my favorite. Although there are a lot of others that I like. And I really want a special shout out to Coyote Tarot for her reintroduction idea and questions, because a lot of us have done our reintroductions due to that. And it's just given us a much fuller concept of each other. And I think that's great for the community. The ones that I've seen, I had a couple, and then I realized the one video that I thought had the biggest impact for me, and I will forget the name of it now, but it's by Zazen Tarot English, because she has one in Indian. She has one channel in Indian and one channel in English, and she has an encapsulated video on the way that she handles the numbers of the minors. And I loved it. I mean, I've read lots of books. I've seen lots of things, but I just thought it was so beautifully condensed and encapsulated, and it made things so concise and easy that I just really needed to shout out to her. And then the last is to pull a card for the next 6 months. So I'm going to do what some other people did. Since I said I wanted to work with this deck more, this is where I'm going to go for this. And I will say thank you to Chanel Days, and for all of you. I've been watching everybody's, well, there, we got 2. Oh yeah, it would be the 9 of Swords. Oh, the 8 and the 9 of Swords. Ah, well, welcome to my life. Okay, so the 9 of Swords, grief, nightmares, and the 8 of Swords, feeling trapped. I know exactly what this is about. I'm a senior caregiver, and I have to lift my mother many, many times a day. I was talking to, we do have some, this year, we have started having some additional caregiving help. And I was talking to one of the caregivers, and she and I were discussing about the amount that we have to lift her. And she said, oh yeah, well, it's only 4 or 5 times a day. And then I said, count it. And she started going through it, and she said, oh no, it's not. It's between 16 and 20 times a day. And I think, pulled a muscle between my neck and my shoulder. And I've always, for many years before this, I was having trouble with carpal tunnel in my elbow, tennis elbow. So that last night and this morning I could barely lift my arm. So it's at times it does feel like I'm trapped, but at the same time, it's a choice that I'm making. We discuss often with the physical therapist, we'll say, well, have you gone to the doctor? It's like, I know the doctor's going to say, stop lifting your mother, and I can't, because it's part of what's required for her daily caregiving. We're, the nurse and I were discussing some other options. It's nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of. And then I would say this, the reality of my life, boy, this is heavy and very personal. The reality of my life is that every morning when I wake up, I have to prepare myself that my mother may no longer be alive when I go into her room. And at the same time, I have to be prepared to take care of her immediately. So I have to kind of split myself on these 2 tracks of preparation mentally and emotionally. And it does cause nightmares. There's a bell that she rings when she needs me to come help her go to the bathroom. And it is so much a part of my life now that there have been a couple times when I wake up in the middle of the night, sure that I've heard it, and she's sound asleep. She didn't ring it. So it's just part of the background of my life now. So I know what these are. I know what they're about. And dare I say I embrace them. This is the dark side of life. And certainly this is the darkest part of it. There are other aspects to it. Wow, how to bring down a room. Debbie Downer. So, yes, exactly, Percy. Debbie Downer. That was my dog, of course. So thank you for watching. If you did watch mine, my little birds, of course, I have those because of the little birds, the affirmations, which brighten my days. I hope you have something, some little thing that brightens your day every day. Thank you.